so today I was working out, and Joey has needed to, like get some workouts in. So I told him, I was like, hey, get your stuff on and let's go. So at some point we're working out and he starts asking me about, he asked, is muscle heavy or something like that? I think that was the first question. Like, is muscle heavy? And I was like, well, muscle, like as soon as he said it, my thought's always like, well, muscle and fat, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah, muscle is heavier than fat. Like if you could be 170 and be a little bit chubbier, or you could be 170 and be lean and more muscular, and you're going to be smaller looking, but you're going to be like ripped strong. Or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And strong. And then one of his next questions was, can you be more fat than muscle? And then I was kind of thinking, I'm like, well, I don't know, but I was like, well, at one point I was 225. I was like, and I'm 160 now.
Dude, I can't. Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, how much is that? Let's count up. I was like, that's 65 pounds. So, and I wasn't in shape. So that was an extra 65 pounds of muscle. I was like, that's almost about as much as you weigh probably, I was like, so at that point, I might have been more fat than muscle. I was like, but right now I think I'm probably more muscle than fat because I've been staying in shape and working out, I was like, but, we were talking about this like in between sets, like while we're doing stuff. Or actually we might have been doing lunges, and we will talk while we're doing lunges a little bit. And we were talking about how it starts to hurt, when you get sore. I was like, you're going to get sore tomorrow. I was like, and it's okay. And I've mentioned this on the podcast before that you're going to get sore, but if you give it a day for a break, a lot of times, especially when you first start out, the third day is sometimes even worse than the freaking next day.
That's for me.
Right?
Yes.
So how the hell are you supposed to freaking work out on that day if you're still sore from the freaking, you were supposed to have a rest day and I'm still fucking hurting. You know what I mean? And it sucks.
Push through it.
But you push through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you feel the soreness, I was telling Joey, but it doesn't really bother you. Like it actually kind of feels good, and you feel like even though I'm sore, I could fucking push right now, if I had to.
Yes.
And I was like, and you feel good. And I brought up the games that I play with myself because everybody's different. And like for me, I like to play these mental games with myself that help me continue to progress and get better. And I think that Joey has a lot of that in him too, like the way he thinks of stuff. So I was telling him that what I do is I do these three things. When I do this type of workout, I'll do pull-ups, and then I do lunges, and then for abs, I do this one song. But the song, I want to do Russian twist for the entire song, which is really hard to do. And when I can't do Russian twist anymore, I don't stop. I'll finish doing the rest of the song, doing bicycle crunches.
Right. So you'll just
finish
do a different form of a workout.
Right.
Okay.
And the more sets I do, the less Russian twists I can do because those are harder, right? But so when I was starting doing pull-ups, I started with sets of 10 and I would do 5 sets. And then I wanted to see how many I could do in one shot. And I did 20 one time. Like I did 21. So I was like, okay, well, if I can do 21, that means I'll do 20 the first set and then I'll do 10 each set after. And then one day I decided to just do 15 for each set after. But the thing is that I was telling Joey, when you play these games, anytime that you progress just a little bit, you start to find a new baseline for yourself. It can be a problem depending on how you look at it. Because the thing is that you can't bullshit yourself anymore. Because you know that is your baseline. That you can do that. Because a lot of times Joey doesn't want to push himself, right?
Right.
So today it was like, hey, you're not doing half of what I'm doing. You're going to do what I'm doing, and it might hurt tomorrow, The only thing is that he wasn't doing pull-ups. He was doing push-ups instead of pull-ups. But it's still, for a kid, it's a good workout. And while we were, between like set 4 and 5 or 3 and 4, something like that, he's kind of feeling it. And I'm like, when we get done with these 5 sets, this is your baseline because you can do this. So if you want to do a workout, do this workout because it's tough. And then the thing is, we did 20 the first set, right? Pull-ups. I did pull-ups. He did push-ups. Then I did 20 the second set. And then I did 15, 15, and 15 each set after that. And I told him that right now is my baseline. I was like, next time I'll do 3 sets of 20 and then 2 sets of 15. Eventually I'll be doing 5 sets of 20. And little by little, my baseline keeps increasing. Mm-hmm. And then he asked, because you were asking me, was he asking? And it's hard for me to like explain to you when I'm talking to him.
Right.
Like exactly, because we're in the moment, right?
Yes.
But this is something that I forgot to tell you. He asked me, how many baselines are there? And I was like, what do you think? I was like, it's infinite.
Mm-hmm. And when he said that, what did he say?
And he was just kind of like thinking about it. I was like, yeah, dude, it's infinite. Mm-hmm. Because you can always try to push a little bit more. Mm-hmm. You can try to push it a little bit faster, a little bit harder. I was telling him when we switched to the ab workouts, when you switch from Russian twist because you can't do it anymore, go to the bicycles because those are easier. Mm-hmm. But maybe your stomach is burning up, so lean back a little bit to give yourself a break, but don't stop. No matter what, don't stop. Keep the legs in the air and keep pushing. And then once your ab chills for a little bit and you feel like you can push a little bit more, crunch harder. But just keep working. Keep pushing yourself. I was like, there's going to come a point where you push yourself to the point that you see you'll see the differences. Mm-hmm. And it feels good. It looks good. But it's not just that. You could do the same thing with reading. You could do the same thing with math. When it's not health, it could be learning. It could be whatever. And you can change anything that way. You know?
Yes, yes.
And I told him that if the baselines are infinite, mm-hmm. then what does that mean? That means that nothing is impossible pretty much. Nothing is impossible because you can always take a little step towards whatever it is that you want. Mm-hmm. Whatever the hell it is, no matter where you're starting from.